This is the Jill Bennett Show on 980 CKNW.
Well, as you've been hearing on the news, BC Premier David Eby has now joined some other provincial and territorial premiers in writing a letter, and this letter is calling on the federal government to extend the federal loan repayment schedule. This was the federal loan program for small businesses, and the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce is applauding this move. Cory Redekop is the CEO with the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce and joins us on the line now. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jill. How you doing?
Very well. How about you?
Good. This is a nice way to wrap up Small Business Week, frankly.
There you go. Perfect. This is
a
call. Yes, perfect timing. A call to extend the loan repayment schedule. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of an impact this is having on businesses? How many businesses kind of took part in this and would be impacted?
Yeah, for sure. So for your listeners, this is the CEBA program. This was $60,000 loans for small businesses, and 20,000 of that could be for forgiven. If you paid it back in a certain amount of time, then you would only have to pay back the 40. So 122,000 businesses in BC got these loans. So this isn't a niche issue. This is right across the board. And when we surveyed our members, 93% of them are saying, even those who've already paid it back, are saying we need to get this extension done because it's having to hit this deadline is going to be a huge burden. So what you have are businesses who've taken out these loans to kind of underpin themselves throughout the pandemic, and now we dealt with inflation and supply chains and all sorts of other issues. Now kind of a wobbly economy, and they're having to figure out, well, I've got 2 months here to come back with this $40,000 to pay this loan back. And if not, well, then I'm going to go to bed on January 18th owing $40,000 and wake up in the morning owing $60,000. So that's a $20,000 nightmare overnight for a lot of these small businesses. So I don't see why this wouldn't be an easy win for Ottawa to do, and I'm glad to see the premiers across the country getting on board with this. You don't see every premier across the country for territories and provinces agree on much, but I think they all see how important small business is. So I'm glad to see that they're getting on board with this issue as well.
Right. And are we talking about all different kinds of businesses that took part in this, that really, like you said, kind of stayed afloat in some cases because they were able to access this money?
It's everybody. We have about 1,000 members here at our chamber, and that's from the smallest mom and pop up to 1,000-person manufacturing company, and all sorts of businesses took advantage of this program because, as you can imagine, it seems like a lifetime ago in some sense, but all sorts of businesses, all sorts of sectors had challenges during the pandemic, and this was really meant to be a pot of funds there to help get them through, to help them to, whether they needed to buy PPE or they had their supply chain thrown off or they had to pivot or whatever it was used for. A lot of businesses, whether it's breweries, hair salons, graphic designers, all sorts of people took advantage of this and used it for what it was there for. And now we're saying, well, it hasn't been an easy road coming back from the pandemic. I think perhaps when this was put in place, it was meant to support business and help them, and it did during the pandemic. But we've seen a bunch of other blips in the road here, which has made it perhaps not as smooth sailing for a lot of these businesses to get ready to repay this in a couple of months. So we're hoping that the Ottawa will agree with the premiers and agree with us and just push the repayment deadline back till the end of next year, give us a real extension, because we kind of had that fake extension that was in the news a few weeks ago, and a real thing that our small businesses can rely on and start planning for next year.
Right. So instead of then the payment schedule, the deadline being January 18th, 2024, the idea would have it to then be January 2025?
Exactly. Yeah. It was always December 31st, and everyone kind of thought, well, there's not a lot of banks are operating at full strength during the holidays, so that's why that January extension was there. So yes, let's push this all the way to January of 2025. Give businesses that an extra year here to sort themselves out and figure out how they can put plans in place to pay this back. And I mean, heck, I'd be happy with even some sort of repayment plan, but where maybe halfway through the year you have to contribute something. But to tell all these businesses, my small businesses in Langley here, but across the province, tell them, okay, well, too bad, you better come up with this money in 2.5 months here, or else you're in trouble. I just think that's a bit of a bridge too far. And with all the money and all the programs flowing out of Ottawa, I'm not sure why this is the hill we have to die on. We're just adding for an extension, not writing it off, not forgiving the whole thing, just giving us a bit more time. So I'm not sure why suddenly this is a bridge too far.
Right. Okay. Do you know, are there businesses that have rebounded better than others and have repaid the $60,000?
Oh yeah, there are businesses that have repaid it, and there are businesses that will be able to repay it, but lots won't, and will struggle to do so. I mean, I think we had when we surveyed our members, we had a huge response from our membership on this, and 63% said they expected significantly negative impacts if no extension was made. But even those who don't have any impact and have repaid it or will be able to repay it, even they're saying, well, I've repaid mine, but I don't see why you wouldn't extend it for those businesses that do need more time. Why would we punish them? I mean, the whole point of this program, we're talking about this program, the whole point was to support business to underpin them. I mean, it kind of undoes all the good that we did with the program if we suddenly now pull the rug out from everybody and say, well, too bad, now you have to repay. I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't want to extend this to kind of lock in the savings that we've done. I mean, the whole point was to save these businesses from going under, so I'm not sure why we'd want to push them off the edge at this point.
No, exactly. And I guess, too, when I said 60,000, but if you were a business that borrowed the 60,000 of the interest-free loans, if you've paid it back at this point, you've paid back the 40,000 and had the other 20 forgiven?
Exactly, and it was up to 60. You could have taken less than that if you needed less. But yes, if you had taken the full run there, then you would have to pay back the 40, and that 20 is the forgivable portion, and that's the piece that will disappear on January 19th. So even if you're getting close and you can almost pay it, or if I can pay this in June, but I can't quite do it in January. That's the piece that you'll lose and suddenly wake up with 20 grand of extra debt, which I'm not sure who I wouldn't want to have that situation. I'm not sure who would. Yeah.
No, definitely. I know you asked the members of the chamber as well about how they were paying it back, and quite a significant number expected or said that they might have to use personal savings.
That's the concerning bit. I mean, you'd expect, yes. I mean, there's 30% said they're going to restrict hiring or not grow their business, which isn't great news. And a bunch more said that they would have to take on other business debt, which is what you'd expect. But it was the numbers, and I didn't think it was going to be this serious. The numbers, 24% are going to go into their personal savings. So not Cory Incorporated, but me as a person, I'm going to go into my savings and get that. 20% said they're going to take on personal debt, so not business debt. Cory's going to go, or Jill's going to go off and refinance my mortgage or get a personal line of credit to get this money into the business. And I think that's a piece with a lot of small businesses that maybe your listeners don't always understand or appreciate, and government doesn't always understand or appreciate that unless you're in the small business. You don't realize these are people that are backing these. The number of houses and second mortgages and personal lines of credit that are floating a lot of these businesses is huge. So when we do something that hurts a business, it's going to hurt a family somewhere down the line. So I was surprised to see that those are the numbers. But yeah, I mean, a quarter of people are having to tap into their personal equity or their personal savings to make this business payment. And then 23% said, well, even doing all that, I'm not sure I'm going to make it work. And those are the ones that are going to have that unhelpful wake up on January 19th. So I mean, this isn't. We're just not nibbling around the edges. These are big numbers. That's Langley. Now multiply that across the 122,000 in BC and the hundreds of thousands across Canada that are in the same boat. I think this is something that we need to see Ottawa do. I think of all the programs, all the levers they could pull, this would be an important one to support small business. And as we're on Small Business Week and trying to be recognizing the economic and community benefit that small businesses have, this would be a great win and a great help for a lot of those people who are trying to run small businesses in our province.
All right. Well, like we said, the premier of this province has now joined the other provincial and territorial premiers. So I guess it's waiting and seeing if Ottawa's listening and gets back to them.
Yeah, we're moving in the right direction. We're getting more people on the bandwagon here, and I mean, I know the Chamber Network has really been pushing on this for months and longer. So thrilled to start seeing some momentum, and we're getting close down to the wire here. But hopefully we can see something come out at the 11th hour and help save our businesses.
Cory Redekop, thank you so much for joining us to talk more about this.
Thanks so much. Take care.
You too. That is Cory Redekop, CEO of the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce.